Let's go.
What a lovely day!
Andy, there's a whole world out there. Jump in.
Can you dig it?
Yeah.
You must always pay strict attention.
I was just completely enamored by it the entire time.
Dude, he did not have to go that hard.
I know, man. Isn't it wild?
The Jared Cast.
So it begins.
That's all right.
I will include your burp, though.
I felt it. That was a pretty good one. I think I might have peaked the audio. You'll have to let me know. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the Jared Cast. It's good to be Jared Backs.
Terrible.
It's a delirious, goofy episode. I'm feeling it. Hi, welcome back. Today we're talking about action movies that I thought would be worse than they are. And here to talk about that with me is Jared. How you doing?
I'm doing so good, man. These movies, I was expecting to have fun, but I didn't expect to have as much fun as I did. And they were definitely a light spot in an otherwise very tiring and weary. Wearisome. Is that a word? Wearisome?
I have no idea. It could be 100% be. It could 100% not be.
A very tiring week. These movies.
Yes.
These movies definitely affected me positively. One so much so that I watched it a second time.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I could guess which one based off ease of access, but we will see.
We will see. Yeah. But before we get into these killer, bloody, horribly gory movies, we got a nice wholesome top 5.
Something a little cozy.
Yeah. Despite all the human meat and animal meat that gets thrown around all over the place and splattered all over the place, we're doing our top 5 today on vegetarian foods or vegetarian dishes.
Yeah.
So neither of us are vegetarian. We know several people who are, so I think, and we're both pretty open-minded dudes about food.
Yeah.
And so
Like if
like
something looks tasty, we'll both like go for it out of desire rather than like guilt or anything.
Right.
We'll get there.
Exactly. Also, this list will also like lean very heavily towards a very specific part of the world that I think is known for like famous vegetarian foods, and so I'm very excited to get into it. But I'll let you start for your number 5.
Ooh, so sweet of you. Number 5, I really like because of its versatility. Because it's super easy to do, and you can kind of just mess with flavor combinations, and I think that's rad. And that's just a good old stuffed bell pepper. Throw any veggies you want and any like grain. You can do like, it's good with like Spanish or Mexican rice. You can do like quinoa, fucking hits the spot. You could just throw whatever in there, some zucchini, whatever pairings you want, and you're just good to go. It can be a full meal, it can be a little side thing, however you want to shake it, it can make it, and it's delicious as fuck. So it's my number 5.
Hell yeah. Love stuffed bell peppers. The only reason I didn't include stuffed bell peppers on this list is because I've only had them stuffed with meat. So I felt
That's fair.
I would have
Some
felt
ground
like
beef does hit the spot.
Yeah, I always did the ground beef, spinach, and mushroom combo.
You're a big
But
spinach and mushroom guy. I feel like you mentioned spinach and mushrooms for like omelets or something last episode.
yeah, it was literally last episode. it's 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 just the umami, man. It's just the umami.
Yeah,
I gotta
it's all
gotta
about
get
that umami.
chasing the umami dragon. Speaking of which, I chased that dragon to every Indian restaurant when I get garlic
yeah.
naan. Every single, no matter what else I order. I do have two usuals that I get when I'm trying out a new
Yeah.
place.
Do they both have meat?
They both have meat. But I still order like other things on the menu, and but the things I test are the lamb vindaloo, the chicken masala, and the garlic naan. And the garlic naan is just like it's just so like Jared's number 5. It's very versatile. You can literally eat it with anything. If they do it well, the garlic it brings a nice amount of a nice like sweetness and acidity to the salty the rest of the salty and savory and spicy stuff that you're eating on the table. And so yeah, garlic naan from India or from Indian American joints that I've had
Yeah.
I do really want to go to India though. Yeah, I also want to learn how to make it on my own too, but it's easier said than done.
Yeah. I tried and it turned out more like pita bread. But we just kind of took that style and ran with it, made like more Greek gyros instead.
That's good.
Yeah, so it still happily worked out. Yeah, dude, I love naan. Naan hits the fucking spot. My number
Non-stop.
4. This is a bad episode. People should not listen to this. My number 4, honestly, like the only thing I need to love my girlfriend is her tomato soup, and so I put tomato soup and a grilled cheese because it's just a classic, man. Such rich flavors. If you go for it, if you want the grilled cheese to kind of steal the show, you can, and tip the scales either way, and you have a great result. Both are equally strong and pair perfectly. So you just gotta have a tomato soup and a grilled cheese.
I wholeheartedly agree, and I will extend my agreement later on. My number 4 is another Indian thing. It's I think from my limited Google searching, it's called chole, but it's basically just chickpea masala. I think chickpeas are just like the coolest vegetarian thing ever. Not only are they great for this, they're great for falafel and a whole bunch of other great vegetarian recipes. But I like chickpea masala because I get to enjoy the that fantastic combination of spices and a fantastic just what is it, a lentil? I don't know what it is. It's a
I
lentil.
think so.
Just a fantastic lentil that catches all that flavor and really makes a nice bite out of it, with or without rice or naan. I think it's just an amazing thing, an amazing versatile dish.
Yeah, I don't think I've had it, so I'm gonna have to get on that. I'm a basic bitch at Indian places. I just get like some tandoori, and that's or like a curry or something. But I don't get too crazy with it. And it couldn't be further from my number 3, which is I don't know, Italian maybe? No, French, I guess, because the cheese is French. Because I'm a cheese man. It's a baked brie, especially with like bread to cracker scale. You're good, and then like jams of any kind or honey. Throw some nuts in there with it, and it's just the tastiest treat. I'll make it like before I cook a different meal, so I could just like dig in with people and like flip something in a pan, and it's just a good time. I love it a lot.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Did not expect that.
Yeah, a little curveball on you.
Yeah. Very cool. My number 3 is grilled cheese.
Hey, let's go.
You can't beat the classics. You can keep it simple with just a slice of American and 2 slices of white toast, and it's still amazing. Um, or you can do whatever cheese combination you like. You can find your sharpness to stinkiness to cheese pulling ratio of cheese, and get some nice sourdough or some challah or some pretzel or something, man. I don't know, but like you can get as complicated or as simple as you want with this thing, and it's still just bread and cheese, and it is amazing. Yeah, got to go with it.
Hell yeah. That's yeah, it's a classic and it deserves every bit of love it gets. My number 2, we're going to Italy from France.
Ooh.
And that's the minestrone soup.
Hey.
One of just the best soups. And soups are pretty damn good. And so if this one's my favorite vegetarian one, I gotta just throw it at number 2. I think it's even better than a tomato soup.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. I don't think I've ever ordered a different soup at an Italian restaurant. I
Yeah, you
always
just
get
have
I,
to.
I gotta try their minestrone. Yeah, it's amazing. Um,
Mm,
Excellent choice, an excellent choice.
yeah.
My number 2 is again from India. It is, I think this is what it's called, but because I see different sources, they all call it something different. It's called aloo gobi. It's just it's potatoes and cauliflower in toasted cumin curry. So
Mhm.
um, super easy to make at home. Super easy to super easy to find too at any Indian or South Asian joint. I'm sure even the Nepalese have their own version, or the Sri Lankan have their own version, because everybody loves potatoes and cauliflower, and just the nice it's just such a nice bite, and you can make it as spicy as you want, and it's still going to be tasty. You could even make it not spicy at all, and it's still going to be a just really pleasant, aromatic thing that you can, yeah, that you could just eat straight out of the pot or combine with anything else.
Yeah. It sounds tasty as fuck, and I'm gonna have to try it. That's
Yep,
that's
yep,
where it
yep.
comes down to.
Yeah.
My number 1. I think this is the queen of vegetarian foods, and that is the falafel.
Ooh.
Yeah, throw it in a euro or wherever you want, and it's just a nice bright, like, I don't know. It reminds me of like light-ish, or you can go fucking heavy with it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go real heavy, but if it's sparse and you let some big veggies come in, you got a great time as well. And I don't know, it just hits the spot for me.
Definitely, definitely. I never understood, like, when I was a little kid, I never understood why people would say like, "Oh, Greek food is nice because it's healthy and light." And I'm like, I don't feel that way. But then I realized, like, oh, it's because I eat so much of it that it's not
Yeah.
anymore.
You can just overload it, and that's the best part about it.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very sadly, I had to cut falafel from being my number 1 as well, because I thought of, I just remembered mac and cheese, and
Yeah.
I had to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Greece. I love you so much. I love your mythology. I don't really love your philosophy. I love your I love your natural landscapes that I've seen in documentaries and shit. I love the movies that are shot at you, but mac and cheese is better than falafel, man. I gotta say. I'm sorry. I'm an American.
Yeah.
I'm an American trashy boy who.
No, honestly, you're right, and it just didn't cross my mind. I don't know why. I just forgot about Mac.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah,
That's the correct opinion. there's never correct opinions, but that one just is.
Yeah, man. I remember the first time I had homemade mac and cheese, and like it was like that. It was like that moment of in Ratatouille, but like in reverse. Like I could see my whole life going forward, like all the possibilities for mac and cheese. All of a sudden, I was like, yes. It was great. It was an epiphany.
Yeah, a brilliant choice and a brilliant list. Thank you for the top 5. I love the food podcast arc.
It's gonna be great.
It's delightful.
I've also been thinking about the posters to hang up, and like I wanted to do all food movies and have one of them be Silence of the Lambs as a joke, and see if they could guess what the category was.
That's pretty good. I fully support it. What other movies? What are the top? What is it? 6?
I only have 4 frames up there, so like
Oh,
I'm trying
okay.
to, yeah, I'm trying to really get a great film and a great poster for every single one.
Yeah, Tom Popo. I've never seen the
Popo.
poster.
It's okay. That's why it's like a struggle,
Yeah.
because like I ended up not going with that category because I couldn't find a great poster for Tampopo and Ratatouille and Chef and yeah.
That's fair. You want to talk about a train?
Yeah, let's do it.
You want to talk about a train? Before we do, we have a little segment called Jared reads poorly written reviews of movies that we're watching because it's funny and it makes him laugh and stuff. But just because we're already 15 minutes in and haven't even said the name of the movies we're watching, I have another segment before we talk about called Jared's gonna read the title of a Quinn Chow
Yes.
review, and you have to guess the movie like franchise that it talks about. Are you ready, sir?
Let's do it.
This one is full marks. It's a perfect film. The title is The Only Franchise Still Deliver in the Planet. Super funny, intense, and adventurous. Well done.
Oh man.
What movie franchise do you think got that?
Oh man, I don't know.
It was a recent, so it's one of the recent ones. It could be Prey. It could be like Scream. It could be.
Is it Spider-Man? Our boy
It is
feels a little.
not.
Oh no! Is it Batman?
No, it's Minions: Rise of Gru.
What? Are you
So
kidding me?
today,
Wait, seriously?
yeah.
What? How does Minions pass the Quinn Chow test? I don't understand. It's overuse of Minions. It's overuse of the Minion scene every time.
No, dude, it stays.
Bro.
Do you want me to read the? I don't even think I've read the review. I just thought that was funny. Do you want me to read it? Are we just gonna make this the longest episode?
Let's go. I don't care.
Okay. Oh, jeez, beautiful.
If you lost it, then never mind.
I just found it. The film start with a woman being chasing by a bunch of males. She done been chasing. And she went to a record shop scene. As
Oh my
turned
God.
out, the film is about Gru, and the minion need help need helping his idol Knuckles to defeat Knuckles' old gang member. Entire film of funny scene with minions with Gru. And Vicious Six gang make the film quite watchable. At the end, after the Vicious Six gang has been defeated, Knuckles faking his death to meet up with Gru, still have a post-credit scene, Gru recruiting a guy at Criminal Records to join his team. That's it. Quite entertaining film.
This guy's really making me question my entire like library of knowledge of cinema. Like,
Yeah. The film start with a woman being chasing by a bunch of mail is the greatest beginning to a review ever. That is
so good. So good.
my first episode back. We're watching Minions Rise of Gru. Anyways, Bullet Train. Here's the one for that. The movie that we're actually talking about. This one comes from Mr. That's just his name. I don't think I should write that out. And they say boring, long, and problematic. And give it a 1 out of 10. Do you want to guess who it's problematic against before I go?
Japanese people?
No. People
Women?
killing no. People killing each other for so long in the end, after many Americans dead. Only few discover everything was planning for two Japanese. The Japanese guys speak in philosophy way, providing American people don't like to think deep. This movie is too long. You will move in the sit thinking to leave before end. the bad the bad bunny is represented a Mexican mariachi killer with the most predictable name as Wolf. On top, he role is Mexican mariachi killer. Oh, or no. On top, he role is Mexican, introduced by a flamenco span song instead of a Mexican mariachi song. The ugly bad bunny die in less than 12 minutes of this movie. Even the snake have superhero titles in the movie. This movie is so doom, only available to entreatment people with the blood testy for blood.
God, dude,
for
what?
blood and don't care for details.
What?
Can you? I think you
don't
need to
even-
put the text on screen for that one.
Maybe. Yeah.
Only available to entreatment people with the blood testy.
Yeah. Maybe send it to me just in case, because I
Yeah.
I have no idea, man. Okay,
Oh.
so I thought it was problematic. It was going to be to this person problematic against Japanese people because someone was accusing the movie of being whitewashing before it even came out,
Yeah.
and like, and so that's what I thought. But no, this person was like, it wasn't whitewashed enough.
Yeah. No.
We need more in Tokyo. No, yeah.
Yeah, so Bullet Train. Bullet Train, you've definitely seen the trailer because you have to by law. At least have been shown the trailer at any point in the past few months. And it hasn't been doing so hot. I saw the critic reviews, just like the scores. Before walking in, I was like, this probably is going to tip because I was pretty 50-50 on it being good or being bad. But it tipped positively. I actually like this one. I think it's fun. If you haven't seen the trailers, it follows mostly Brad Pitt and a total of 5 assassins on board a bullet train, all kind of after similar but intertwining things for similar and intertwining reasons. And Yeah, like I said, I thought it was fantastic. I think it's got a great cast, and I think they rise to the occasion and make it what it is. Obviously, Brad Pitt is doing Brad Pitt very well. Tangerine and Lemon, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson and Brian Tyree Henry. A lot of names for such few characters. Um, I would watch a spinoff day one it came out with their previous career, um, and the rest of the cast that follows is fantastic in a super stylized, kind of overcomplicated, um, little too long but fun every single minute of type of movie. Um, and it's well executed, well shot, little clunky and rough around the edges, but overall I liked it and I thought it was good. On this Jared scale, I'm feeling an 8.3. I think it was a great time.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, I had an absolute blast watching this movie. I did not. I was going in. Action movies are kind of like my kryptonite. I feel like I can even enjoy bad ones if the action is at least good. Here, not only was the action good, but it was just like Jared said, it feels like a party, like when you're watching it, and all your friends are there, and including Michael Shannon and Zazie Beetz, who I knew from the trailer would be in, but like I just forgot because the rest of it,
Yeah.
because the main characters were so good. So they were like, "Oh yeah, that was great."
I didn't know at all Zazie Beetz was in it. For some reason, I just didn't. I blocked that out of my memory or something.
Yeah. I had no idea about the Channing Tatum cameo. That was amazing. That was amazing. But yeah, David Leitch, former co-director of, or he is the co-director of the first John Wick movie with Chad Stahelski, and then he went off and did his own thing with Atomic Blonde and Deadpool 2, and yeah, this is his latest kind of, I guess, Buster Keaton slash Jackie Chan homage. It's kind of what he's been doing his whole life, or his whole career as a director, and I think he excels at that homage. I think this feels like a movie with a lot of my favorite character actors playing Jackie Chan, and
Yeah.
and I'm down. Like I'm so down for it, man. Like
They just took a Jackie Chan from every movie, or just like different movies, and just dropped him in a
yeah.
train.
Yeah. And this was originally based on a Japanese comic, I think, but and then Anton Fuqua was going to turn it into a serious action movie. But after David Leitch picked it up, or David Leitch got the job, he changed it to a more comedic thing. And I think that's kind of what makes the movie tolerable for me when it does get overcomplicated and when it does get weird. Like at least I'm still laughing, and at least I'm still enjoying that part of it. So yeah, I like you, I enjoyed the cast. I enjoy the setting of the terrain. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. But overall, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a stellar action movie effort. I can't wait to see what Leach does next. And it's also just a beautiful thing, man. He was Brad Pitt's stunt double in Fight Club.
No, that's not.
Yeah, and now he's his director in one of a pretty awesome Brad Pitt role, I think. It's been a while since he's gotten to play like the loser stoner type, and so I'm glad that he's back doing that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think it's a successful action film. I tend to be an action critic, and obviously, it's there's I'm not alone in that. One of the critiques I heard of it was the convoluted structure, where so many flashbacks the entire time, and a lot of backstories and a lot of motives to keep track of, which create these individualized characters that will talk about. Um, did you find that as a problem at all? What's holding it back from a 10?
I mean, at first, kind of, yeah, but honestly, like that heightens the characters' individualities for me. It
Yeah.
also it does come together pretty nicely in the end, and
Hmm.
that's kind of how ensemble train movies work. Like Murder on the Orient Express is pretty much the same exact thing, where it's like multiple
Yeah.
people. The train is used as a symbol to take all these different storylines and make them all move literally and figuratively move in one direction. So yeah, I think it's a natural thing that people would be confused.
Yeah.
But even if it's like not that great on the page, like I think they do a really good job pacing it out and making it at least I get to see the flashback and I get to see it instead of them talking, oh, remember that one time with the thing? Like we get the payoff of actually seeing what they're saying. Oh, remember. We get to see them shredding bodies in Bolivia. We get to see them we get to see Bad Bunny's whole backstory without dialogue, which by the way, he killed it. Like I was like,
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah. And
I
now I
was
know what he looks like.
a tip of the hat to you, Mr. Bunny.
Yeah. The Bad Bunny.
But just I guess just as far as what's keeping it out of a 10 things, I just think the whole idea of like fate versus luck, like it's the movie's message seems to be surrender to fate and it'll eventually pay off for you, and that's fine. It's just it just didn't feel very satisfying.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as I don't think it needed to be deep, but it should have been, I don't know, more clear and
Yeah.
more.
And they bring it up so often.
I think I heard the word fate like 50 times.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, okay, we've heard the word fate, we've heard the word luck 100 times.
We get it.
Good luck, bad luck, we get it. And so, if they had hammered it in less and picked and chose which moments to talk about that overall theme, I think it would have been a lot more a lot better and a lot more interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the fate almost holds its own. I think it's so close to like being executed the way they needed it to, but it doesn't quite get there. And a lot of that comes from just like the writing, like the things that happen are heavily tied to like other events. Obviously, like the water bottle is the most extreme example.
Right.
One that I like that I caught on to just driving around today was the everybody keeps like getting killed or almost getting killed by their own weapon.
Yeah.
The Hornet does. Brian Tyree or Tangerine, or Lemon.
He's
He was Lemon, right?
Aaron Taylor
Lemon.
Johnson is Tangerine.
Lemon was shot by his own gun. He lived, but still. So there's that theme. But Brad Pitt doesn't bring one, and it's this whole thing that they make of it. And then at the end, he gets shot by the prince's gun instead. And if he had brought one and like made that choice, then like all this other shit would have been different, and the dude wouldn't have died because he had a gun and would have gotten killed by it. So like it's some of them like they go back far enough and they circle on themselves that I think it was kind of executed enough for me.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah. And I honestly like I appreciate the effort because a movie that's this pulpy and that leans this far into like action movie, just being an action movie that references other action movies, like they didn't have to do that, and I appreciate the effort. Like I appreciate them like actually trying to make a story out of Ladybug, and actually trying to make a satisfying narrative for Ladybug as a character, and for Lemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There. The dog started barking and it threw my entire train of thought.
Also terrible.
Also terrible. Thank you for listening. Have a good rest of your day. No, and we mentioned the individuality of these characters. That was probably the biggest plus for me. Like I said, I was a big fan of the twins, Lemon and Tangerine. Even the prince, who I think I had the most issues with in terms of like the ending of their arc. I liked like pretty thoroughly. The wolf was a little short, but that's okay. Some of them have to be, and just kind of drew the short end of the stick on that one. But how did you think they did balancing all of them?
It made it really fun for me. Like I think like for the prince, uh Joey King played a character that was very annoying, and I think that is fine. Like it was even though I didn't enjoy them, like it was still, I know that that's intentional, and that's what it was like supposed to be, and
Yeah.
that the my only like big critique for the prince was when they finally confront White Death. It just doesn't, it feel it I could see it coming a mile away. Like I'm like, they're not gonna let they're not gonna let her kill White Death. Like
No, it's too big to like be that centered on her.
yeah, and so it didn't really and so that it just felt flat for me. But I enjoyed rooting against her overall. I think Joey King is, even I don't watch the Kissing Booth movies, but Joey King since The Conjuring has always been a super solid actress. But yeah, for Ladybug, I love when Brad Pitt plays a loser. I think it's so much fun. I think
Yeah.
I hope that he continues this kind of like, that he picks more roles that are like kind of a dopey kind of dude, because I miss it. He's always funny in that role, and he's really funny here, and I appreciate his chemistry with everybody, including Bad Bunny, who we just met. Like the fact that he had chemistry with a non-actor shows just how at the top of his game Brad Pitt is, even this late in his career.
Yeah.
Hiroyuki Sanada as the elder was such a treat for me. I love Sanada. I think I always smile every time he's on screen. He's in Westworld for a little bit. He's he's just a fantastic character actor, and brings a lot of gravitas to really small roles. And I hope he gets more starring roles going forward, because he's just killing it in the action movie genre. He's going to be in John Wick 4, so I'm very excited to see him there. And then also Lemon and Tangerine, I think, are my favorite parts of the movie, because I was the most on the fence about them. But I was
same.
also most excited to see Brian Tyree Henry try a British accent. So I was like,
it wasn't great for me.
Even so, like it still it added to the fun of it. Like they both had very different accents, and so but they were still brothers. They still felt like brothers, and they had such a fun such fun scenes with so much fun banter, and they each had their own individual. Sorry, you're good. I love their journey as a unit and as individuals, and I think both paid off really, really well.
Yeah, I thought the Thomas the Train shtick might get old, I was like, this could get so annoying if they overdid it and this whole thing. But it didn't, and I think it had a real nice payoff with the sticker on the prints. I think that was great. I thought
Yeah,
it was a fantastic payoff. Yeah,
definitely.
Brad Pitt was the perfect, I think, star slash like tour guide for the train.
Yeah,
He kind of just brings you from face off to group to whatever. And I think it was perfect. I think he plays the center of this small cramped universe very well. Um, but I think the train came with its difficulties. The fact that the staff disappears by the end of the line was a little confusing. Um, and it comes with its own challenges. Time is a little weird in general throughout the movie because they're setting things up for so much further down the line too.
yeah,
One example for me was the snake starting like super early and then like they'll just cut to it crawling around for so long, and it's like such a forgettable thing, but also like it's gonna be a
yeah.
thing at some point, so you have to watch, and then it's nothing because he's like, oh no, I'm fine, I had the antidote already. It's just kind of taking up room. But overall, I liked the setting of the train. I think it added a lot for the action choreography, which we'll get to. And I think it just added a nice finishing touch to some great characters and a great story.
Definitely. Yeah, um it allows for you to see like all different kinds of flavors of like people outside the
Yeah.
train too. Like the one Japanese gang that worked for the White Death looked really cool. Like even though they were just there to
Uh-huh.
pose, like it was just such a fun shot. Like I loved seeing them like slowly let the cigarette smoke rise out of their mouths. Is
Yeah.
is really cool. Very anime. Um, and then I also loved when they I think it might even be the very next stop um it's Ladybug and Tangerine posing as Ladybug and as Tangerine and Lemon, and Ladybug accidentally like shows off the accidentally unlocks the suitcase with the correct
Yeah.
combination, which is just perfect. Like I
Yeah.
was like,
I did
I
not
did not.
expect it, and it was
Yeah,
one of my favorite moments.
exactly. It was so good and so like just out of nowhere and and really funny.
Uh-huh.
And then also the train stop when they finally picked up the elder, I thought just looked so beautiful, even though
Yeah.
um, it was clearly not real. Like it was still like it just looked nice. Like you can tell they're not really in Japan, but it doesn't matter because it's so stylish and fun
Yeah.
and interesting that I just didn't care.
Uh-huh. Yeah. It's a great frame for the painting of this movie. Um, and the kind of meat and potatoes, I would say, is the action. You got a lot of moving parts, but I think that's probably what draws you into the theater at least. So they've gotta pull it off on their own. And I think they did. I think there's some great choreography in here. The usage of the environment's fantastic, even if it's a little convenient for like the empty bar cart or like the timing of the waitress interrupting that I've seen maybe 10 times at this point.
All because of the
um,
trailer.
yeah. Um, but I think the action holds its own enough for everything else to shine. What do you think?
Um, yeah, I like the choreography. I think that's something that I'm accustomed to loving about David Leitch movies. And like even with Atomic Blonde, which I'm not a huge fan of, uh,
Uh,
her fight in the stairwell is just amazing, and there's so much love and passion put into it. Like you can tell. I forget the name of the stunt company. I think it's 87 North or something like that.
mm,
Me I don't know if it's
I
here.
actually
Yeah,
haven't seen it.
87 North Productions. Yeah, so they've been doing, um, they've been working with David Leitch. They've been David Leitch's production company since 2014 when John Wick came out.
Okay.
And yeah, it's they they care deeply about um, about the spectacle of the stunt and what that means for the audience and what it means for the audience to see the movie stars that they grew up loving actually do the stunt themselves. The
Yeah.
best thing about this being on a super compact train is that you can't switch out stunt doubles a lot of the time. And
Yeah.
so a lot
You got to
of what
be
we
in
see,
close.
yeah, a lot of what we see is really the actors hitting each other, not hitting each other, but really trying
Yeah.
to nail this choreography that is very passionate and beautiful and moves like a dance. Um, I especially loved the fights between the fights with Aaron Taylor Johnson, you know, who has a lot of experience in action movies, but you know he has he's worked with stunt doubles before, and this is a movie where he can't really uh, do anything about that. And same with Brad Pitt. Like Brad Pitt loves. He's said several times like I just let the professionals do their work and I do
Yeah.
my work. But here he excels. Like they're twisting around. It feels improvised even though it's clearly not. Um, even even the 5 minutes of Zazie Beats that we get was super cool. The way they use the syringe in the fight,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and yeah, each one of them too has their own individual uh, style of fighting. The elder literally fights like an old samurai, and it's
Yeah.
so fucking cool. Uh, Same with you know, and Michael Shannon is very tall, so he you know, he fights like someone who's used to bullying people around. You know, he doesn't really put a lot into his swings because of that. He's used to being dominant. Um, you know, and each one of them has a different has styles that supplement and complement their personality really nicely.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, do you have a favorite character? Besides, like, singular character. I guess I won't say besides Lemon and Tangerine. But do you have a favorite?
Hmm. I want to say the Elder, but I know in my heart it's probably Tangerine. I know when I rewatch it, it's going to be Tangerine.
Yeah.
But the Elder's pretty close. I like the Elder a lot. Uh, just the wise old Yakuza man, and he gets his revenge. It's such a satisfying way. It's really
Mhm.
cool. Yeah.
True. Yeah, I think Tangerine is the strongest. And I think it's intentional. I think they kind of focused them two pretty hard as well. Some of the earlier introduced. Um,
It's also
did
just
you?
mustache bias, if I'm
Yeah.
being honest.
um, did you like how it came together? Because it ends on heavy action, which is fantastic. I don't doubt that's a positive for you. But do you like the um, oh, the White Death was behind all of it, kind of heavily telegraphed, but um, did you like how that played out and how the circles joined back up at the end, basically? Do you think it fit together snugly?
It fit together just fine. It was just the most cliche aspect of the story to me, and so
Yeah,
I I did roll my eyes a bit, but because I was having so much fun, I didn't hold it against the movie to the point where I would, you know, dock it another 0.5. You know,
yeah.
I still enjoyed it. I thought it was fine.
Mhm. Yeah, that was one thing I was skeptical about. in terms of how I thought it'd be received after watching it. So I was curious. You want to talk favorite scenes? We're 50 minutes into the episode.
Sure. Let's see. Favorite scenes. The payoff with the Hornet being inside the suit, I thought was really cool.
I thought Waitress for sure.
Yeah, me too. And Karen Fukuhara is in The Boys, so I was like, oh, maybe she's an assassin too. So, but she ended up just getting knocked out. Whatever. Who
Yeah,
cares?
good red herring though.
Yeah, yeah. I like the Tangerine realizing that the prince was a diesel. I like the apology fight between Lemon and Ladybug. I thought that was so nice. It was just okay, cool. he just really wants an apology, and he got one after fighting. I love the Channing Tatum really wanting to have sex with Brad Pitt. It was super good. I love the flashback for Bad. I love Bad Bunny's flashback as the wolf. I thought it was super crazy. It's just seeing everybody throwing out blood. I was like, oh man, this is something I would do. I never thought they would do that.
Yeah, and then the payoff of Brad Pitt being the waiter that kind of saves him too, which also leads to the White Death kind of dying in this situation.
Yeah, man, it's so good. And then yeah, those are my main ones. Maybe also Ladybug and Ladybug and Tangerine's fight outside the train, but that was okay.
Yeah. Yeah. One big one that was not included there, because I think there is some overlap for sure. For me is the flashback where the White Death takes over the gang. That shot of the Russian roulette down the arm is fucking gorgeous.
So
And I think that scene is peak hyper stylization for this movie. And they nail it. They absolutely crush it on that scene.
Yeah.
I really liked the sticker tangerine realization as well. I think those two are probably my favorites. Besides that, the the end 20-minute fight is fantastic. Brad Pitt especially getting hit in the face with the teapot and then bouncing into the bear was a beautiful shot and pretty funny. I didn't think a lot of the dialogue jokes landed for me outside of Thomas and Tank related stuff. So the physical comedy being so good, especially in the last 20 minutes, really hit it home for me. The water bottle, I think I really liked the first time, but I think will be the worst in the subsequent viewings. I think I'll start to roll my eyes pretty hard, but for now, I think I'd include that as well.
Good choice. Yeah. I forgot about the White Death flashback. That was cool.
Yeah,
it's very reminiscent of old Yakuza movies too. It's just a bunch of bleeding men screaming at the top of their lungs. It's great.
What's not to love? So that's Bullet Train. It's probably going to be playing near you because I wouldn't be surprised if it's in every theater in America right now.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to one that I wish was in a theater. I regret this not being a theater release.
I'm still pissed.
Yeah.
But yeah, Prey is the latest entry in the Predator franchise, and
not everybody
in my
liked
opinion,
it. It feels so much labor when I like have to set you up and then I just know immediately that I have to interrupt you. And so I have to be like, all right, let him start. Now I gotta like the first easiest, tackiest opening is mine. Um anyways, here's this segment we do. This this review comes from Hussey. They gave it a 1 out of 10 and said, Feminist v Predator? Just wow. I don't know where to start. The acting is extremely bad. The main character, Naru, has the same face expression through the whole movie. The storyline is so bad that it's mind boggling. Somehow, they managed to make a Predator movie about a girl power in the worst way possible. This is probably the most cringy movie that I have ever seen. It's so ridiculous. Just wow. Spoiler alert. The 50-kilogram girl kills the advanced ultimate alien killing machine Predator without even trying, after he killed like 200 men single-handedly. But he couldn't kill a teenage girl with handmade rope and flint axe. Ha 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 ha, cringe at its finest.
Sounds like someone missed the whole point of the entire franchise.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
stupid, man.
They weren't the only. Another one, I won't read it all because we're already going over this episode. But at one point they said Wokahontas, and they said 120-pound twerp female kills 400-pound predator.
Crazy, man. Yeah, guys. That's the whole point, man. You can't kill the predator with brute force. That's
It's
predator.
That's why the machine guns didn't do the trick.
That's predator. I don't know what. It's like these people didn't watch them. Like these people who are holding on to their memories of the first movie,
Yeah.
just straight up didn't get the first movie. It's so annoying. It's so because I've read other reviews that were similar to that, like on Letterboxd too, which is supposedly like more woke than this shit. Like it was just, it's annoying to read people's reactions to this, man.
Absolutely. Anyway, what movie are we talking about?
We're talking about Prey, Daniel Trachtenberg's latest sci-fi thriller. It doesn't lean too heavily in the horror genre, but it is pretty scary and pretty suspenseful. In a lot of scenes, not even just involving the predator, just involving life in 1719.
And it's cool because I feel like 10 Cloverfield Lane is also horror adjacent. I don't think it's like straight horror either. He fits in that pocket good.
Definitely. That's why I was very excited to learn about this. I had no idea it was even being made. I had no idea that. I thought the franchise was dead after The Predator. I was like, oh man, well I guess that's the last one we'll ever see because nobody watched this, and gratefully, our lovely auteur Daniel Trachtenberg pitched this to 20th Century Studios to as soon as he saw Mad Max Fury Road, and it was fast tracked in development and made into this bloody R-rated party that we see today. And I loved it, man. I think I love it as much as I love the first one, if not more. Because to me, besides the dated effects, the first one is pretty much perfect. But I also know that I have nostalgia wrapped in it. Maybe it's not perfect. Maybe I could watch it again and I find something I don't like. But for this one, it's very, very difficult for me to find things I don't like about it. I think it kicks so much ass. And like, even if you took the woman out of it, like it's got some of the best Predator moments in all of Predator history. There are countless Predator miniseries, comic books, and one shots. There are countless novels. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, if you count AVP 5, 6, and this is the 7th Predator movie.
It's insane.
And yet this one has like at least 5 of the top 10 best Predator kills. It is absolutely insane. This is clearly written and directed by people who love the first one and who understood the first one and understood the point of the first one, which is that you can't, when you're facing off against the ultimate killer, you can't brute force it. You have to outsmart it. And that's exactly what our character does. And she does it with Comanche style combat, which I've always wanted to see on screen. And I never get to see in a really cool way. And I got to see it in a cool way. The Comanche are, of course, legendary warriors from back in the day, sadly wiped out by disease and genocide. But they, oftentimes in history, like people like the Huns and the Mongols and the Comanche, like these warriors became renowned because they have to learn how to fight with no cover.
Yeah.
And so that and so I love that about this movie. Like it's very like even the people who get killed by even the Comanche who get killed by the Predator like directly stand up to it and actually get some good hits in. And so this movie never even though it's a white dude making a movie about native blah blah blah, it's never disrespectful towards that culture, I don't think, and it never over romanticizes it either. Obviously they lay out the fact that there is this problem where it's a patriarchal culture, and so they and so having that female protagonist, I think,
Amber Midthunder
helps solidify the story of like of just a pure. It helps solidify the story of a pure warrior going from 0 to 100 and working their way every step of the way to get there.
Yeah,
exactly. And so I'm going to give it a 9.7. I had an absolute blast. I watched it a second time the day after I watched it, and I'm going to see it a third time. I'm going to try the Comanche dub. I'm going to try it. If I don't like, because I don't like dubs, but but either way, I'm going to watch it a third time.
Yeah, I would have loved for them to do like actors speaking Comanche, all subtitled. I think that would have fit better for streaming, I think. But I also really liked this. I have never really been able to call myself a fan of the Predator franchise because I just been tapped out. I just haven't really given it the old college try. I saw the first one when I was like somewhere near a teenager or a teenager, and I barely remember it. I had to like go back and I looked at like synopsis from the first one to spark the memory back into gear before watching, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I don't think it needs to stand on the back of a franchise. Part of that is because it is a prequel, and so I don't know. I thought the Predator was just like one guy. I didn't know there were multiple. I didn't even think he'd ever been killed, to be honest. And that's like kind of a big thing. And so I did not expect it to be murdered, and I think watching it that way made it better. I was like, these people are either going to get away or they die. Like, those awesome. Are the only two outcomes, and I liked it. I thought the dog was dead 100%. And I am glad it never did. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's also a great coming of age story. I think it's got great action scenes as well. I like that even the Predator is more bare bones than I thought he would be, or that I remember from the movie. Even for the first couple kills, he's all like kicking shit and ripping it open with his hands, which is fucking awesome. And it was cool to see it also taking down a peg. And I think it evened enough for a great underdog story that I fully bought into and fully enjoyed. I'm gonna give this one an 8.7.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man. I think this is actually a great gateway to the franchise because it fully understands the sci-fi concept of the predator. Right, this is a
Yeah.
creature that I like honestly as much as the xenomorph, because its whole entire race believe it glorifies the hunt. It revels in it. It ravishes combat, to the point where it's where it would in the first one, spoilers for that movie, uh it blows itself up when it loses, and so these things are uh uh these things are both a direct commentary on the action hero in the first one and in this one, and they're also about how nature works and how and how the hubris of humanity and specifically masculinity would clash against a creature like this, against something that is a natural predator for human beings who are, who
Yeah.
who see themselves as the ultimate hunter and who see themselves as the outside the food chain, or separate from the food chain. The predator brings us right back to basics. It brought Arnold Schwarzenegger right back to basics, where he had to kill this all-powerful alien with sticks and stones, literally. And so and it's the same thing here. She has to kill the alien with sticks and stones, and with mud and with traps and with her own mind, with her knowledge of medicine, with her knowledge of combat, um, and but yeah, there is that theme throughout the movie, the theme of being a hunter and developing into a hunter, and what it means to be a hunter. What did you think about that theme, not just in the Predator and in Naru, but in the rest of the cast as well?
I think it was fantastic having the coming of age aspects of the film, um, fully commit with the hunting aspects, with the, I forget what it's called, but the thing she wanted to do where you have to kill a predator that's
Right.
hunting you. Um, that ceremony and that tradition was perfect because I think it raised the stakes and it made you care for her. But in terms of the the pecking order, the theme of having the hunt, I think it was super cool. It was cool to see Comanche fighting style because I had no idea at all what what they used, and I don't know if this is accurate, but it felt like it was done with a lot of love. It felt like it wasn't just "oorah, let's go kill this." It was, this is a part of our world. This is its role, but like to survive, I have to do what I have to do. And so let's go kick some ass. That
Yeah.
kind of attitude was just perfect, and it set a fantastic tone.
Yeah. I mean, but I only know what I've read in like stories and in other people's accounts,
Uh-huh.
um but yeah, like the stories were that they were basically tanks on horseback. Like they could take out 10 dudes, or like one dude could take out 10 dudes, just if they had a horse, because they could shoot on horseback without a saddle, and they can
Yeah.
dodge arrows in midair. They could do all that shit. But yeah, even if you're not familiar with this culture, and I don't call myself an expert at all, I'm not, but or even familiar, but these are basic fundamental human traits and human ideas and human things, and I think that's what makes us care about the characters so much.
Yep.
That's why I also really love Tabe, who is played by first time actor Dakota Beavers. Um, he is Naru's brother, and a skilled hunter. Becomes the war
Mhm.
chief pretty early on in the movie. What do you think about his arc as a character? And he kind of comes of age early, but his arc is a little different from Naru's. So what did you think about that?
I liked it. I think it was the most obvious death in the movie.
Right.
You could feel it coming, and but that didn't nullify any of its impact. Um, I think he's a great like guidance character for Naru as well.
Yeah.
I think he coaches her a lot in the short amount of time that we're joined together with them. Um, and I think that's it's great to see because I think it also helps with the cultural impact that you were talking about, where the patriarchal system. I think he and a lot of the others in the hunting party subvert that a lot. They're like, "You can do it. You're here. Go do it." Like, so
Yeah.
there's support too, which is rad to see. And so I loved his character, and for a first time performance fucking knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. I was very, very I I jumped up and down when he got the line, if it bleeds, we can kill it. Um and then when he finally does get on horseback, I was like, "Yeah, yes." He also gets to impale the predator before it kills him. It's awesome. Um and yeah, even just the brother sister story, like it's so beautifully performed because you can tell that these two characters have a shared history. uh yeah, like you said, like even without that much screen time, like you can they really do feel like a brother and sister. They really do feel um like they root for each other and they take care of each other, and they've had to take care of each other for so many years.
Yeah.
um Even Michelle Thrush, who plays Aruka, their mother, she killed it even in the few minutes that she had, like, realistically being, having to deal with the weight of having two children be hunters, but also,
Hmm.
and so having that worry and having that anxiety, but also having this pride by the end of the movie that her daughter um, was able to find victory in the end, was pretty awesome. And yeah, very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
um you mentioned Naru's story being a coming of age story, and uh yeah, I agree. It's a really awesome thing. But she's also uh kind of the audience's guide into the world that we're in. She's the one who's observing what the predator can do, and observing, and who discovers the Canadian hunting party. Um,
Yeah.
how did you feel about the world building through her eyes?
I think it was great because it's pretty small scale for being such an open and vast. Wish this was shot on theater type location or showed in a theater, not shot on a theater. Um, but it's such a vast environment. But she keeps it very narrow because we can only go as far as she does. So it takes like days to even get near the Canadians because it's so far, but it's so close in terms of tone um, and whatnot. So it's yeah, I liked it. I think she makes a good guide for us.
Yeah, and you also like like, especially on the rewatch, it was really nice, like seeing her take every single thing that she learns from each of the locations, like
Uh
what
huh.
she learns from the fight with the bear, what she learns from the fight with the thing. Like
Yeah.
it all pays off really well in the script. She
Hmm.
even says, like, super offhandedly in the beginning, like, "Don't get your bowstring wet," and when she gets her bowstring wet, she almost gets killed by a bear.
Yeah.
Like, it's just really, really cool.
Hmm. Yeah, and it also reverses the hunt a bit. It's more survival. She even says, and I think she says it in the trailer, um, I'm it can hunt, but I can survive, I think was the line.
Yeah.
And I think that's that's cool. It just makes it so much more exciting that it is a prey movie instead of us following the predator, because it lets some of his horror suspense chops be flexed. There's a lot of great scenes without the predator throughout, and it makes our characters that much more rootable. And I think she's the perfect guide for us.
Definitely, definitely. So this is not the first movie to take the Predator's perspective or to have a B story starring the Predator. Um,
Uh-huh.
but what did you think about the way it was handled in this movie?
I think it was simply done but efficiently. One
Yeah.
sequence that comes to mind is early on, where like a spider gets eaten by a whatever, which gets killed by a snake, which gets fucking stabbed by the predator in a super cool way, or the wolf chasing the rabbit. Just being able to see it like work its way up to the food chain so quickly to humans, like it
Yeah.
goes like bear, all right, you're all that's left. It's very humbling for the rest of the cast too. So I think it counteracted um, following Naru so hard super well. It felt nice and balanced both directions.
Definitely. And I think also like this is this is part of why I love this movie as a gateway to the franchise too, because like you're learning everything you need to know about this race without without any dialogue. Like you
Mhm.
can't understand anything the Predator is saying. I don't think any of the movies give you subtitles. Um, but yeah, they it, it it becomes very clear very quickly that this thing only cares about sport and only cares about
Yeah.
thrill. Um, even when it gets bored fighting people with muskets, it just kind of it doesn't run away because it doesn't want to get hit with a bullet. It runs
Yeah.
away because it just wants to get rid of them
Just
without.
next.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Next is the theme song of the Predator. Um, yeah, and and it really does a good job of handling the overall theme of the movie, and uh, and it's cool to give the audience the information first before you give it to the characters, because I think it
Mhm.
heightens the suspense because they don't know what this thing can do, but we know, and so
Yeah.
instead of the Jaws effect of hiding the creature, it's the oh shit, they're walking into a trap effect.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, very very cool. And like Bullet Train, this was an action movie. Um,
Mhm.
this was a lot more handheld, but I don't know. Did the different style was it better for you? Was it worse for you? Um, did you did how did you like the action in the movie?
Um, I think I liked the action more in Bullet Train, but I think they both matched the whole of the film respectively. I think I wouldn't want like a different style of action for this because you get some cool like creative kills. Some of the best were for me were like the bear ripping above it and like covering it with blood and revealing it from the camouflage. Like that's just fucking badass.
Yeah,
But on the flip side of that, I think they also hide some of the action quite a bit. I think there's shots where it's like super obscured through the camouflage that I think didn't quite sit super cool for me, because they did it so many times, and I was like, all right, the first couple I was like, it's badass because the camouflage is cool, but now it's like, all right, just show me the effects, show me like the impact
yeah,
of some stuff. And so I was missing a bit of that. And I think that's why I give the edge to Bullet Train. But overall, I think it served the film perfectly.
yeah. I saw someone complaining about like shaky cam, but I didn't feel like it was
I
shaky
didn't
at all.
know.
L- Like even that handheld scene when she's killing the five dudes by herself, like yeah, it's shakier, but it's
Yeah.
not. But you could still see every hit. Like, I
Yeah.
don't understand what the problem is with that. So I don't know. People, I feel like shaky cam gets thrown around a lot as a term, and people, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Because like you don't always want it to be like perfectly like dollied and like snappy and
yeah, no.
just straight. Because you wanna have the external factor where you feel the impact, even if it like distracts you from the hit exact like a little bit. You sometimes need that for the impact of it.
Yeah, yeah, especially in that scene, like when she, like, I don't see that. You don't see the very last tomahawk hit, but you see her bringing the tomahawk back up to her hand, and the camera rises up at the same time, and it
Yeah.
works. Like, it works for the scene. Um, but yeah, any other notes you had about Prey, or any other things you wanted to talk about?
Um, Not really. It makes me want to go at least rewatch the original. I've heard mixed things about like Predator 2, and then pretty much nothing good for all the others.
it's it's weird. Like, I would say skip Alien versus Predator altogether. I don't think you need
Yeah.
it. And but I would say maybe watch Predator 2 because it's like fun, like 90s nostalgia.
Okay.
And Danny Glover is kind of a fun Predator protagonist because he's playing the "I'm too old for this shit" character in a Predator movie. Uh, and you
That's
also
tight.
learn, yeah, you also learn a little bit more about the Predator itself. I would say the first one's definitely worth watching and rewatching. Um, Predators is has great moments. It has great
Okay.
moments. It's not a great movie. It's like definitely like someone trying to copy Robert
Yeah. It's
Rodriguez.
like a slasher sequel where there's like, okay, that was pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun. It's got some cool characters. It's got some great kills. Little annoying with the Batman voice in the main character. But you got Danny Trejo. You got Walton Goggins. What's not to love?
All right,
Um,
fair.
and then the Predator. Uh, hmm. I appreciate what they were trying to do, but it's also very forgettable.
Is that
Uh,
the like 2018 one or
yeah,
whatever that was? Okay.
yeah, it's the Shane Black one,
Gotcha.
which was, yeah, it was definitely, yeah.
It was a movie.
This Prey is literally so good that I don't give a shit about any of the other ones.
Yeah.
um,
All right.
yeah,
I'll at least do the first, and then if I'm inspired and I'm in the mood, I'll get gung ho about
yeah.
the second.
I would say watch Predator 1 and 2 for definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I gotta find some shit to download for a long ass flight. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. They should both be on Hulu.
Okay.
And so is Prey if you guys want to check it
Yeah.
out. Oh, favorite scenes. It's your favorite scenes.
Favorite
Sorry.
scenes.
Go for it.
Yeah. The bear from start to finish, from
Yeah.
her hunting the bear to the bear hunting it, to the predator hunting the bear to the predator hunting her. I through and through a fantastic time altogether. Um, I will also say the other fight we mentioned with her taking on the French,
Yeah.
the French Canadians, the Quebec. Um, it was badass. It was maybe the most exhilarating fight, and that's including the bear, and I think that says a lot about it. I think it was so fucking cool. Um, I I liked the ones I mentioned earlier with the wolf and the wolf fight. Also, because it shows off him just punching the shit out of it. Like he purposely
Yeah.
stoops down to its level. He knows he can just fucking shoot it and kill it immediately without hesitation. But he chooses not to, and I think that's important for the Prey as a movie to kind of set that up. Um, and I'll leave it at that. I don't want to. I don't want to take too many off the plate. I think
Yeah.
3 or 4 is a good number.
Yeah, man. I love those scenes. I love every scene. But yeah, when when she's able to use the tomahawk and rope in the fight with the poachers, um, she like throughout that whole movie they show her practicing and practicing and practicing with it, and seeing that practice finally pay off with it, seeing her use
Yeah.
it to kill 3 dudes is super super cool. And and the sound effect for it, like both whooshing and flipping in the air and then
Uh-huh.
hitting with the thud, is just so
Yeah.
satisfying.
The sound design of this was too good for it not to play in a fucking theater.
It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. Disney, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Ridiculous. Yeah, I'm hoping that maybe Alamo Draft House will have a screening or something, and I can.
Yeah, I think they'll start popping up because the demand is it's there. So I
Yeah,
I think it'll happen, but not
yeah,
near me.
definitely. Yeah, it's yeah, I definitely want to get on that if it comes up. I also love the predator just murking all of the poachers in the burnt ash forest. Uh,
Mhm.
like it's such a it's such a perfect idea. Like, okay, the reason we're gonna show the full predator is because it just doesn't see the use because of the wind. And
Yeah.
like it's just like, fine, I'll go without my camouflage and I'm still gonna kick your ass. Like
Uh-huh.
that attitude is just so cool. Like I even though I'm rooting so hard for Naru to kill this thing, like as a fan of this franchise, I still want to see the predator kill some people. And
Yeah.
so
You don't want it
like
to like stroll up on Naru when she's like it fucking
right.
nails it.
And each and every single one of those guys getting killed is so cool. The guy
Yeah.
getting hit with his own bullet after trying to shoot the predator in the mask. Um, the guy getting torn up by a net. Like, oh, that was so nice. Like it was so
Mhm.
gory and nice. Yeah, it's pretty nice with it. Tabe on horseback, so freaking cool,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So cool. And the scene with the lion was maybe the best jump scare in the movie. I
True.
thought it was like so good, and like they set it up really well because they actually rack focus to the wind changing, where you can see the wind blowing
Mhm.
in that guy's direction. And it's like, oh, okay, so the lion just didn't come out of nowhere. Okay, I get you.
Yeah.
And so yeah, very very cool, very subtle setup, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you? I've seen. I don't know if it's rumors of or a lot of buzz for a Predator feudal Japan samurai movie. What time periods would you like to see the Predator go to if this opens the door?
Well, we technically have seen one. Because there's a Yakuza member who fights with a katana in
Okay,
Predators.
gotcha.
So we've kind of seen that. We haven't seen a full-on samurai fight a predator, and I think
Yeah,
that
like
would be cool.
period piece, kind of similar to this. I don't know. It's very. It stays in its pocket well.
Yeah. I mean, I would. I think it'd be cool to do a medieval setting. I'm not. But as much as I would love Japan, like, honestly, like medieval England or like medieval Vikings would be
Yeah.
great.
I think
Like,
I'd rather Vikings. Knights just aren't interesting to me. They're too goofy. Maybe it's the Monty Python fan in me, but I always just see them as kind of like frumpy and not interesting.
well, it's weird because like because of how much they've been like lampooned over the course of like
Yeah.
our lifetimes, but they were actually pretty decent fighters, and even one of them in full armor with a two-handed broadsword is pretty fearsome and pretty yeah. So I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I think Vikings would probably be the other cool thing, just because that's another culture that's almost adjacent to the Predator, and so it'd be kind of interesting to see a full-on conflict between multiple 7-foot tall berserkers and multiple 8-foot tall predators. I think that'd be great. I'm trying to think of another great culture to fight the Mongols would be awesome.
More horseback.
More horseback.
This, but more horseback.
Yeah, a couple more horses. No, yeah, those guys were the most. They are the historical exception. They're the only ones to successfully invade both Russia and Afghanistan in history.
That's insane.
And so yeah, the Mongols definitely would be an awesome one.
Yeah. Yeah, some great options. Go watch this shit. It's not in theaters, but it's on Hulu. Maybe it'll be in theaters. You're gonna have to just wait and see. If you listen to this, I'm sorry. You should have watched it ahead of time. Anything else you want to say to the beautiful people?
Yeah, don't look at the Rotten Tomato scores, man. Like,
yeah,
who the hell is making Bullet Train rotten?
That's the theme of today's episode. Actually, I think Prey has good Rotten Tomatoes, doesn't it?
Maybe.
Yeah, 93.
But
success there, but still.
What's screwed up about Rotten Tomatoes is that it's not all the same people watching the same movies.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it's weird.
Yeah.
I mentioned Hot Rod being fucking incredible despite its Rotten Tomatoes score on Listen to This, and Bullet Train is another one of those exceptions. Throw it in the list.
I agree. Alrighty, audience, we love you. Goodbye.
Let's go.
What a lovely day!
Andy, there's a whole world out there. Jump in.
Can you dig it?
Yeah.
You must always pay strict attention.
I was just completely enamored by it the entire time.
Dude, he did not have to go that hard.
I know, man. Isn't it wild?
The Jared Cast.